Rtisan podcast. We have one of my favorite groups in the world. We have Jill and the Beta Option. What's up, guys? How y'all feeling today?
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So just to cue you guys into the behind the scenes. We all went to school together. Columbia College Chicago. We were just talking shit about it, but we also agreed that at the end of the day, we still love it, right? Like we still, what I mean? It's like
some good people, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah, or whatever. I might have met you guys there or whatever.
I think that's the best part about it, though, is the connections, it's the networking, it's
sure.
Even a lot of the teachers are still working professionals as well, so it's not like one of those places where like you go and the teacher was like semi into it like 30 years ago.
Definitely.
They're still current.
Yeah, I was just there last week in Bill Boris, who I actually had on the podcast. Go check it out. I'll put the link in the description below. Bill did a show at the Art Institute, man. And he was
cool.
he was there with his band rehearsing, and of course Bill was shredding like how Bill does,
right.
like just stupid good. Yeah. But this podcast is not about Bill. It's about Jill and the Beta Option.
Bill.
Well, I did learn and study with Bill though. So
you did.
That's a thing. Oh, okay.
He's an
there you go.
Director.
Yeah.
There you go. It's connections, man.
Boom.
That's what it's about.
Yeah. Big shout out, Bill. We love you, man. We love you.
Yes, we do.
So, enough about Bill Boris. How did you guys come together?
Oh man.
Columbia. Literally.
Well, student lounge.
Okay.
She's canvassing in the lounge for basically anyone at all who remotely knows how to play bass.
That's a good way of putting
it can be like that.
It was pretty much, and I think you were at the time trying to get Luis Echeverria to help you out.
Yeah.
Mm. He plays bass.
He plays
everything.
He does play everything.
We're kind of like, we get mistaken for each other all the time.
I can see that. You're both Latin, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And here's the thing: is he's a multi-instrumentalist.
You
I'm
are
a
too.
multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So we're both kind of like in
Glasses.
that. Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yep. It
Slightly dirty.
The resemblance.
In the best way possible.
Yeah.
Nice save.
Oh man, I could dig that.
But they were talking, and then I kind of just like chimed in. I didn't really know you that much at all.
No, yeah, we had a class
We
together.
had the class together.
Yeah.
We didn't really talk, and I just kind of like, I was like, I
I
volunteer as tribute.
Yeah, I volunteer. Were the odds ever in your favor?
It's true. Playing
They are
this band
now.
is
They are
different.
now.
They
Okay,
are now.
so at first it was kind of rough with you. Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Still
what about
is,
you,
I guess.
bro? How did you slide into
I
the
want
group?
to say it was actually jazz combos, or maybe it was jazz forums, one of the two. But we were in some kind of ensemble together. You were playing guitar, I was playing drums.
Right, and it was completely unrelated because in terms of like, because we did jazz together, but then like our drummer dropped out, and then so I had to look for another one, and then somebody actually recommended me to you. Actually, Caroline recommended me to you.
Yeah.
And she was like, message him and say what he's doing, and then you said
I remember,
yes.
you hit me up in one summer. I was like, and you sent me the music. I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
I've never played in a rock trio before, but
I
now's a
dig
good
it.
time to
Here
start.
it is.
I can dig it. You guys are like the next group.
Yeah.
I'm with it. It's funny. Like obviously we were in school. I saw you like every day in the lounge, but I didn't start talking to you until like me, you, and Carolina were together, and then I think Jill, was that Valentine's Day yet? No, that wasn't the first time. Was that time? I just know we were at White Palace. And I think that was the first time we ever hung out. And I was like, man, I see you all the time. I was like, oh shit, you're actually pretty fucking cool, man. Big shout to the lounge, yo. So many relationships have just been made in that place.
Yeah.
I can tell you, it's not even the same now. Not even the same. It's
No.
like, it's not, man.
No,
It's
I
weird,
went back
bro.
there like, and there's no one hangs out there anymore.
Yeah.
No one stays in the lounge. No one does anything. They might be downstairs on the first floor, and like that's it. Like they'll be on the first floor, and like that is it. They go to class. They go home.
Yeah.
Like no one shows
Are
out.
there a lot
in
of
the lounge
commuters
anymore.
then? Probably.
Probably.
That's very possible.
Yeah.
Very possible. Also, a lot of people have graduated, so it may take
That's
a
true.
little while for those relationships to kind of
back
build. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
a lot of us have been there together for a while. A lot of different classes. There were more music students then. So just more community kind of happening. I mean, it's happening, but it's definitely not nearly as much because the lounge was kind of like the spot to hang.
Yeah.
That little bitty room.
You know, I think part
Still
of it
stuff
though
out
is
of vending
program
machines.
driven because like a lot of the programs are lacking because of the lack of music students to fill them.
Oh, sure.
And so like for the most part, what I think what they need to do is probably cut the whole, you know, ensemble driven thing and just pair guitar students with vocal students. And just start doing like singer-songwriter
like
duo stuff.
They're kind of doing
More
that
so,
with the CUT program. That's basically what's happening.
well, right. I mean, that's where I graduated from was the CUT program. But like, even going through that, there were very few points where you're literally just like paired up with someone and told to write.
Sure.
Because like that I think would be really good and would make a good use of the actual population. Because right now it's mostly guitar students
and
singers.
Yeah, seriously, it's kind of weird, man. I'm like the only trombonist out there. We're not going to get into that. Too much talk about Columbia. All right, so you guys have an album coming out. Let's talk about the album. How much original music is on there? What were some of the thoughts and emotions that really drove the album? You know, what was the process like for creating it?
God, okay, so well, first of all, it's a hefty album. It's 13 tracks, all original music.
Yeah.
The oldest song on there I wrote when I was 17.
Okay.
I'm 26 now.
Emotional, Jill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little emotional, just in a different way.
Yeah,
I'd like to think in a more mature way, but that's all about, you know, relativity and context and perspective and like whatever bullshit.
Definitely.
So, it was really cool recording with these guys because they're like professionals, you know, and like we went in the studio first day. It was crazy. It was a 13-hour session.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Jesus, man.
we played everything like live straight the whole way through. So we laid down like the bass instrumentation in one session.
I love that type of recording.
Yeah.
I hate the
fun.
solo recording, man.
Yeah.
I hate that stuff, dude.
It was a marathon though.
Yeah, I mean,
It literally was.
Yeah.
It's interesting to have to try and keep the stamina going because like the first 3 songs are like, yeah, we're doing this.
Right.
And then you get to the 4th song and it's 5th song, 6th song. It's like maybe we should take a break and like maybe just chill a little bit.
For
and
sure.
then,
For sure.
Get our
man.
second win.
For me, just give me a bunch of coffee and hope for the best.
I was gonna say, man, it's caffeine.
Luckily,
B12.
Starbucks was around the corner.
For sure.
Yeah.
Where'd you guys record at?
Rackstrack Studios.
Big shot with Rick Barnes.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Rick
It's free
Barnes.
advertising, bro. When I come to you, I want some, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Hey, Rick Barnes kicked me out of his class, man, when I was in there trying to work on a project during finals. He was like, yeah, sorry to do this to you, but you got to get out. I'm like, I'm almost finished. Don't put me out. It's all good, though. It's all good. I finished the project, and then Ilya told me it was terrible. But it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I passed the class, and that's what's important.
Right.
So, you were talking about an album release. When is that happening?
Yeah, that's happening August 11th. It's at a pop-up space in Pilsen, which is going to be super fun.
Yeah.
Doors are at 7:30, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Ish.
Yeah.
7-ish.
Yeah, we're playing actually with 2 other bands. Nicole is going to be with us.
Oh,
and
that's the
also,
homie. True.
Yeah, and also the God Awful Small Affairs.
Haven't heard of them.
Yeah.
So it's Nicole Bitter Peaches. Is that her group?
Or
is it just like her doing
it's
solo
just
stuff?
her. It might just be her solo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's just her solo, and then we're gonna build up and
Sure, man.
see where things go. Yeah.
Do we know exactly the address for the location?
2215 West Cermak.
Okay.
This guy.
Look at that. Look at that. That's why you have him on your team.
Yeah,
Joe.
it's true.
Someone's
It's
got to
true.
remember all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a beta option, my ass.
I just hit things.
Yeah.
He
My
remembers the
ass.
songs. He
Yeah.
Well, I think part of that name though goes to the fact that like before joining, like I only dabbled in playing bass.
Sure.
That was kind of like never a main instrumentation thing for me. Like I was mainly a guitar player, and even at that point in time, I probably logged 5 times as many hours on trombone than I had on bass.
Sure.
It was one of those things I basically dusted off my bass, hopped on it for a few hours, kind of just got my fingers back used to the fret spacing and all that fun stuff. And we played our first show together for your EP release.
Yeah.
In that November of 2014.
Yeah, that sounds
Was it
right.
that long ago?
Yeah.
Jesus, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's crazy to me like to hear this album because it's been such a transformation since like playing with them like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like acoustic solo music, and now it's like a all in rock trio, just like balls to the wall, just like no prisoners. So.
What did you guys find like the inspiration for this album, man? I mean, were you listening to other rock groups, or like I know all of you have a very like. You two definitely have jazz degrees. What did you say? You have a
cup, but
cup,
actually
okay.
before Columbia, I studied at NIU.
Right, you were doing jazz ball,
guitar.
right? Yeah, jazz. Okay, guitar.
Jazz guitar at
Right.
NIU, yeah.
Right, so we all have jazz backgrounds for better or for worse.
Yeah, I know, right?
Right.
Jesus, man.
But
we can talk about that another day.
Yeah. That'll be a whole other.
I know, man.
Yeah.
We should definitely
we could
probably
go
talk about
forever
that.
The implications of a jazz degree in modern society.
Yeah, man. It's like a
There you
philosophy degree almost. And
Right.
Like,
Well,
you know, like for music, it's like.
Yeah, man, you're studying 100 years of history. Like that's a lot.
It is.
Yeah.
It
It's
is.
a lot.
It is.
And I think some of what the jazz helps with is being able to have a form of a song that's not necessarily like super cookie cutter pop.
Sure. Yeah.
But we can still have more of a pop rock sound without it necessarily having to fit within that mold. We can like expand beyond it.
Yeah.
Right.
It definitely prepares you to be versatile.
Would you say a jazz degree helps you with accounting?
No.
Wait, like.
It doesn't.
Oh.
No.
So he
Actually
always,
makes it worse. No.
yeah, he gives me crap because at rehearsals I never count.
No.
I just feel it, which is really stupid.
So then we all feel it.
You mean like you don't count off?
No,
No.
I
Oh, I
count
was gonna say,
on,
It
but
doesn't
like,
count like during the song.
Yeah.
And
Oh
so
my
like
God.
she'll come in like a beat off.
Yeah.
And I'll just look at her. I'm like, you're not counting, are you?
Yeah.
because it's really bad,
It
but
is
also
bad.
it works because
feel
I
it.
take advantage. Basically,
It's your
of how
sound.
of how they like
We
communicate with
count.
me. Yeah, so they count for me.
I
I
can
just
dig.
show up and
Yeah.
play.
I can dig that.
Just gotta sit chill.
So basically, what you're saying is it's a new song every night.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Hey, that's what makes it fun, though.
Yeah.
You know, it is. Yeah, it's what it is, and I feel like we're getting so much more practice, like playing out live, and so now it's like I feel like it's starting to really turn into its own thing, and like we just got a manager recently, so like things are just like building up for us. So
For
we're
sure.
really excited to see like what the next couple of months are gonna be like.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So I totally asked the question. We totally skirted the question, but we
thought about
we did
that.
exactly what we said we weren't going to do and start talking about jazz degree. But what were it happened? Whatever, man. Whatever, man. Just roll with the punches.
Yeah.
This is why I don't come up with questions ahead of time. But what were your inspirations behind like coming up with the music? Like, were you listening to other groups? Did you have like some skeletons of some songs? Like, did you all like have writing sessions?
No, I mean like, it's kind of crazy because I write all the songs. So basically what I say goes.
Yeah. Okay. Clearly.
Yeah, and but
Until it doesn't.
until it doesn't, that's a fair
Right.
point. Yeah, and so then they just kind of like, I'd say like I bring a song to them and I just kind of like play it for them,
Right.
and then they just kind of build on top of it, and that's
For
like
sure.
makes it really cool. It's like very organic in that way,
Yeah.
even though it's also like pretty structured, I guess, because I pretty much set the tone of like how a song is gonna go. But it's really cool, like when we're in rehearsals and we're learning a new song together, because they'll hear something that I haven't heard.
Right.
And so that changes the song. And so it doesn't just become a song written by Jillian Somera, it's like Jillian Somera and the beta option.
For sure.
Yeah.
And the cool thing too is to have all the lyrics actually laid out ahead of time, because that would affect how I come up with drum parts, or like maybe we'll start this song out with brushes instead of like doing a full out rock group or something like that.
Yeah.
So
That's
it actually affects how the song turns out.
Right.
Wait, so
Having those lyrics first.
So a drummer who pays attention to lyrics?
Dang.
Who are you?
Maybe I'm not a
okay.
drummer after all.
Was that
What?
just my moment?
What?
Because I've heard you mention stuff about my lyrics before, but I didn't realize it was that poignant for you. Dang.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what happens when
that's
you
the
rock
thing.
with musicians.
It's like
It's the message of the
this.
song.
You made a good point. Like it's kind of a living thing. Is the band is a living, breathing entity that changes, that grows, that really has the ability to affect change too. And it's just we have three very different minds that get put on the same task of making a song complete. And through that process of making the song complete, it definitely it goes through changes, it goes through different, iterations, and, eventually I think we've never really had a point where, it clicks for one of us but not for all of us. Like, when a song clicks, it's kind of like reached that equilibrium where we're all just kind of like, yeah, this feels right. This feels good.
Nice.
This is what it needs to be.
For sure.
I guess to illustrate that, how differently we think. Remember, what was it, the Apple ringtone?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
We were trying to figure out what beat did it start on.
What is it?
So I was saying, like, it just starts on
we should
one.
Play, what's the
but he was feeling it like one beat off.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just like on the backbeat. Just
we need somebody from Apple to confirm or deny what's about to happen.
What beat does it start on?
What beat does it start on?
Yeah.
Hashtag Applegate.
Yeah. I can dig it, man.
Yeah. Are you trying to play the ringtone?
Yeah, I'm trying to actually find it.
That's not.
What's it called?
It's just the Apple, like the marimba, I think it's called.
Oh yeah, marimba. Yeah.
Let's see. Do I have it? Wait.
You should have it. It's an Apple.
It's probably in classic marimba.
Wow. Oh yeah, there he is.
No. Which one is this?
Oh crap.
Oh, this is gonna take forever.
All right. Sorry. This is riveting podcasting right here. No, it's all good.
What's it called?
It's gonna bother you. You can find it later. Okay,
yeah,
so albums that you were talking about that we listened to. So for me personally, one of my favorite albums of all time is actually No Doubt's Tragic Kingdom.
Okay.
And so it just so happened that I got into the rabbit hole of listening to that again while we were recording this album.
Right.
And I was really like in love with the energy of that album and like this kind of like grittiness and like, sort of like, because No Doubt was like a punk ska like when they first started, right?
Yeah.
And so like, I was like really drawn to just the sort of like punk element of it where it was just like really just like gritty and like, Gwen Stefani is just like in your face, just like screaming, well not screaming, but you know what I mean. Like just really, really out there with her vocals and not holding anything back.
For sure.
And I think that maybe probably more than I realized that really inspired a lot of the vocal work that I ended up doing on the album. Just trying to really just channel my inner Gwen Stefani.
I can dig that.
Yeah, so that's
big shout out Gwen Stefani.
Yeah.
So many shout outs.
Yeah, whatever, man. Let's just do it. Let's just, pay some homage out here, man. Let's just pay some homage. But I got a couple other questions I want to ask you, but we're going to take a real quick break and then get to those questions. All right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Dope.
I got to check on.
Welcome back here at the Rtisan Podcast. We have Jillian Somera and the Beta Option. Woo!
Yay.
Hey, it's lit. And we left off talking about groups that kind of influenced you. Real quick, what kind of music were you two guys listening to? I mean, growing up, like more recently, that kind of has been influencing you around the time when you were making this album?
Yeah, Simon Phillips is one of my all-time favorite drummers, and I literally just copy him, copy his fills.
That's,
there's an album called Los Lobotomies that he made with Steve Lukather on guitar, and it's just so killing.
Right.
And actually did a couple of songs in a progressive rock ensemble at Columbia, which Bill Boris was directing.
Shout out to Bill.
Yeah.
That's like five shouts, man.
That was a great outlet
Shaping
for
the
me.
future generation.
Yeah,
so,
literally.
That was a great outlet for me to really adopt his playing and to like literally transcribe his fills. And so I, of course, kept listening to it through when we were recording the album as well. And of course, there are other influences as well. I like Dirty Loops, and
really likes Dirty Loops.
I really do
really likes Dirty Loops.
That's true.
Sometimes you play Dirty Loops fills in the songs.
Oh yeah,
when we play live.
Yep, I do.
It's kind of cool.
No shame.
I would.
No shame.
Yeah.
So yeah, and there are of course a whole bunch of other influences and stuff, but those were two of the main ones for sure.
I can do. What about you, Jay?
For the most part, I'm even a tad bit more boring than that. Not that the bands that I'm gonna name are boring, but the fact that they're just a little bit more conventional, I guess, like the Strokes, the Shins, where it's more like that punk slash, you know, pretty much rough rock, indie rock, you know, bass where like things are a little dry. They're not super clean, but they're pretty clean. The bass lines themselves are, you know, very well defined, and I take a lot of inspiration from like the sound and the way that those basses are set up and the amp settings and such like that. That really kind of let me work with what I've got. Like I told you, my bass has strings that are 11 years old on it.
Mm-hmm. It's for character.
It is, and it's like it's one of those things. They are dead strings. Mm-hmm. Like they are completely dead strings. They have that dead string sound, but there's just something about it on, you know, a bass with the proper drive and with the proper settings and, you know, slight reverb to it and things like that that give it a certain character that I really love. So that's why it's like I don't change out those strings. If anything, I'll like take them off the bass, oil them. You know,
that's a thing.
That's a thing for bass strings. Yeah,
huh.
You can like there's a way to like, you know, you disinfect, you get oil and grease off of it, the dirt. Mm-hmm. You dry them out completely. You can like refresh the strings, but you can maintain like the dead string quality to them.
Shit.
Without like letting them
mind blown.
Yeah.
So it's not because you're lazy. It's
right.
You like the sound.
It's a conscious choice.
Wow. Okay.
Hey, someone's gonna like click on this fucking bullshit. The science behind it doesn't support anything.
No, I've actually heard of drummers who will buy new cymbals and then bury them in their backyards for like maybe a year, so it gets all this dirt. Yep, and they dig them up because they like that.
The warm,
the
weathered sound,
the dirty sound.
Wow. Okay. You guys just blew my mind.
I know. I want to say I support that, but I don't know that I can support that.
I'm afraid they'll just get lost.
Yeah, exactly. You're like mowing along. You're like, what the fuck is that shiny thing sticking out the grass? That's hilarious.
That's the fun thing about art, though, is that you don't necessarily have to support all of it.
You're right, man.
Yeah.
And
I can hate it.
Everyone
can be a troll.
Yeah, dude, go for it.
And you can do both. You can love stuff and also be a troll.
Yeah, and by being a troll, you're contributing to the art too.
Boom, because I'm talking about it.
Whoa.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh man, what a fucking concept. So one thing I was thinking about where you were talking about the writing process. I know sometimes when I'm writing or creating or doing anything really, when it becomes my baby, when it's my baby, and then I release it out into the world, I sometimes don't want to hear criticisms on it, or I don't want people to change it. When you are coming up with a song, you spent 5 hours writing, you know, and you've worked out all the minor details, and then you bring it to the guys, you know, it's like, and they're like, oh, what about this? I'm like, no, I made like this specifically, you know. How receptive are you, and you guys can disagree or not, you know, how receptive are you to new information? Because that can be tough sometimes.
That's a really good question. I feel like I want to make you guys answer first.
Well, the hard part about that is, and I don't want to beat around the bush, but there's
so clearly he has something to say.
Man,
clearly he has something to say. Yeah.
It's difficult because when you create something, that's you. It's impossible not to have a personal attachment to it. So when someone attacks that, you feel, of course, inherently that someone's attacking you.
Right.
So you have to. It's hard to accept that, but that's the only way to improve. It's kind of like the road you have to travel.
I agree.
It's like it's just the way it is. It kind of sucks, but if you can like almost accept that with an unbiasedness to it and be like, okay, maybe this part can be better, or maybe these words should be different, or whatever it might be. That you kind of have to. Accept it.
So what you're saying is listening to people that are different than you and accepting criticism, you know,
it's
can be helpful.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's important
shit.
to see things for what they are.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I'm with you, bro.
I agree, and it's a matter of being able to take that criticism, run with it. But it's important also to not let that criticism
be all end all.
Get to you to the point where it's affecting, how you're playing. So like you're second guessing your decisions, things like that. Like at the end of the day, all the decisions that you make are the right decisions because they're decisions that you make artistically. And those decisions can't be wrong because there really isn't a wrong decision to take artistically. That's what also what makes it art. But in the air of trying to actually get better, sound better, and improve, it's important to look at criticism constructively, whether it's presented as such or not, and to really consider how that can be intertwined with how you already play, because you shouldn't be changing your style up. You shouldn't be changing your sound or your art just because someone criticizes it. But you can change your technique. You can adjust your settings. You can incorporate new pedals, incorporate new sounds and things like that, and just try and have this like healthy relationship with criticism.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's definitely very important.
And piggybacking off of that, it's important to be able to accept criticism and to consider it, but also at the same time, if you're convinced that there's this particular thing that you're doing right or that you like, and someone else says like, "Nah, you shouldn't do that," it's okay to like be convinced. No, this is what I want, and I'm not going to take that. No, I'm going to reject that.
There's a delicate balance there, man.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. A shout out to mom and dad. Parents are simultaneously the best and worst when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Oh, sure.
Because
they can be.
They want the best. They want you to be the best that you can be and things like that. But at the same time, the criticism can feel like an attack. I know for my own like personal stuff, my own like my solo work, like my mom has a few very strong opinions about some of my songs, and it's like I get it. I understand. I know where you're coming from.
She has also told me about her strong opinions about your music.
Right. I'm going to keep doing me because, like, I made certain decisions with certain songs because that's the way that I wanted to take them artistically.
Because those are your songs.
Right. And, when she's trying to make, like, suggestions about, my song structure, and it's just like, I like it the way that I have it. I respect your opinion and appreciate your criticism, but I'm not going to take it.
Is your mom a musician at all?
No, but she's but she is a painter.
Okay.
She does have an artistic mind. Right now, she's also CFO of a company. Like she's a big numbers person, very much a center brain person, where she has both the logic and artistic qualities, and like. I do respect her opinion. She is right most of the time.
Don't you hate
you
that?
heard it? You heard it.
Don't you hate that?
You heard it here.
I'm like, God damn it.
Right. Most of the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in my experience, when I receive feedback from people who I really care about, like my parents, for example.
Say, man, you got a big one, man. Your dad's a legend in this.
Yeah. For sure. I'm like, wow, you're right. I would have never thought of that. Like, that's true. And of course, he has a bunch of years of experience to bar as well.
That might count.
Yeah. So it's
maybe.
So more often than not, I'm just like, yeah, you're actually right.
Does your brother ever comment on things about stuff that you're doing?
He will if I ask him.
Interesting.
He tends to keep to himself.
Yeah.
But if I say like, what do you think about this? He's like, oh. Well, actually,
I've been waiting.
I've been writing all my notes. Hold on. I got a Google Doc.
I love it, man.
Of course, he has his opinions.
For sure.
And of course, I have opinions too of the music that he produces. But you just have to draw it out a little bit.
Yeah, I could dig. I could dig.
It's funny,
but we're very supportive of each other.
That's a good thing, man.
My brother's the same way. Though it's just like he listened to the album that we came out with / are coming out with multiple times. He's listened to it probably like 4 or 5 times.
Oh, really?
Top to bottom.
Good looking, bro. We appreciate you.
Yeah. So he comes up and he's just like, all right, I've listened to the album a few times. Here are my thoughts.
Okay.
Here's my opinion. He thinks very highly of it, by the way.
Oh, nice.
He does. But, obviously he still has, criticisms of how certain things are done and things like that. And that's the thing. That's what makes it. He's like, his exact words were, "It's very impressive for a debut album."
Oh man, all right.
Okay.
I can live with that.
Yeah, depending on who that's coming from, that could be a really big deal, man.
Yeah.
I feel like
especially if you respect their opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a major, like, if he put his mind to it, he could be like, an Anthony Fontana kind of critic. Like he listens to everything, and he has an opinion about everything.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
that can be good and bad.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we didn't get to me and how I.
Well, let's hear it, Jill.
Well,
Goddamn
you're
it.
the one who wanted us to talk.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Now that we've heard.
So are you
Now
guys
that
done?
you've
Yeah.
contemplated your answer.
Are you done?
You tell me.
Oh
You
man.
tell me, boss.
All right.
That's
Okay.
fantastic.
So the boss is talking now.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, okay. It's interesting for me with like the songwriting process because I have been. I would like to say that I do have a unique sound. Like it's something because it's something that I've fought for. Like really, because like my entire life, especially like being a minority, being a woman, like people told me I couldn't do things,
Right.
and I was like, no, I'm gonna do it, and so I do it, and I still continue to do it to this day.
Sure.
And yeah, when I first started writing songs, like people were kind of like confused by like the stuff that I was putting out. And like even now, like when we were going through a bunch of drummers before we found our Magic Austin over here.
I remember that process.
Yeah.
I like magic.
Magic,
It's a good
yeah,
fix.
yeah. So
Just still start stripping for us. Or do.
No.
I mean,
it's not that kind of podcast.
It's not.
I mean, we can get weird.
Guys,
no, it's fine. Just
derailed
continue. Continue, please.
derailed.
Yeah.
What was I saying?
Oh man.
Oh yeah, okay, so one of the things that I know that I do, that they've pointed out, is that I like to extend bars, and that has to do with the fact that I don't count.
I was gonna say, does this have
to-
anything to do with you not counting?
Yeah, no,
feel.
it's related.
Yeah.
So it like for me, I don't change it because I know that like makes it like a unique aspect of the sound, and it's not like I'm doing it to be annoying. That's actually how I naturally hear it. So
Okay.
it's actually an artistic choice,
right.
not laziness. To throw that right back at you.
There's
So
a lot of
it's
that.
there's like it's all just shade. We're all just under a lot of shade.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It's nice and cool over here.
Right.
Anyway.
It happens, man. Whatever. This is what happens when you're in a band.
Yeah.
You gotta be able to talk shit about each other and then go do a good show.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how. Yeah. You
Or
get
in
it.
our case, talk shit about each other while
During the show.
Yeah.
Right.
People seem to
Like, really,
really
bro?
like that.
Hey, man. We all love a little bit of
Selling
band.
point.
You know?
We're like the Ed DeBevics of bands.
I'm with it. I can dig that. I just took techniques in singing, and one of the, Carol, what it said in the book, and Carol really stressed this, is when you're on stage, you can't just be up there singing. There's got to be some sort of like theatrical performance to it. And I think people do love watching people interact with one another.
Because it's real.
Yeah, exactly. You can just be up there shredding. We're all going to love it. It's like, man, that band was really good. But if you look like you're having a good time, and you actually are having a good time, you guys do like the little musician thing where you look at each other, and it's just like you're all looking at each other, and everybody's like, what just happened? What just happened? But they don't know, and they want to be clued in on it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that it's cute. It's cute as hell, and it makes people feel like they're a part of something that's happening, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's also a very important thing. Is I took Tech 1 with Carol and Tech 2 with Bobby.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so like it's important to be able to communicate when you're on stage.
For sure, bro.
And sometimes you can't do that with words. You can't do that even with direct eye contact, depending on where you're at.
Definitely.
So a lot of it comes down to body language, down to signaling and things like that. But on the flip side of that, when you can do it with words, in our case, it's usually framed in the form of an insult of some kind.
Yeah. Like the fuck?
Like television.
Oh man,
You should be worried if we're not giving each other shit. That's
Yeah.
what you should,
That's
when you should probably be a little worried about it. Yeah.
Right.
True friends insult each other.
Right.
Right.
That's
That's
how
so
it is.
true.
See, yeah.
That is very true. Very true. All right, so we know you gotta go soon. You gotta go make money and do direct Hamilton and shit like that.
Yeah, I'm
Be
doing
famous.
percussion today.
Oh, is that
Oh,
what
you
it
are.
is?
Oh,
Today.
okay.
Today.
Oh.
Yeah.
It just
I
so
didn't mean to
happens.
I love it, man. So one more time for the people in the back that didn't hear us. When did you guys just released the album? What is it called?
It is called Highs and Lows.
All right, show the camera.
Right
yeah,
there.
get it in there.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
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 I love that Mount Rushmore kind of like thing you got going on there. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Who did that?
Made
Shout out to the artist.
Yeah.
Man,
Out of-
fucking
he
Justin,
made it
you
out
do
of
everything. Fuck you.
I'm spoiled by this band.
Clearly,
and, like,
man.
very
Clearly.
talented.
That's
too,
super dope. That's
yeah.
super dope.
Yeah, you get to buy a physical copy of this.
Oh man, so people don't really do that anymore.
Yeah, I know
right.
people don't do that.
Yeah.
Even though the album is actually out on Bandcamp as well.
Mm-hmm.
But so if you come to our release party on August 11th at Pilsen with what's the address?
2215 West Cermak.
Right. Okay. That's the address. So we are also selling VIP tickets on our Eventbrite. So with VIP tickets for less than $18, you can get a digital download of this album and 2 drink tickets. So come get rowdy with us.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
Come
really
get some
fun.
liquor. Come get liquored up.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
if
really
enough of y'all
fun.
get VIP tickets, you heard it here first. I will print out a bunch of stickers that just say "very important." That will also come with it. So we can,
Oh, that's next
you,
level.
you know
guys.
how
Everyone loves
important you
Next
are.
level.
So,
We got a sticker that says "very important."
Yeah, I love it.
So that everyone knows.
So
Yeah,
that everyone
exactly.
knows exactly how important you are.
Oh, for sure, man.
Because
Everybody
people
needs
have
to
a
know.
right to know.
They do.
Yeah.
Just put all this information at the beginning of the video.
So like,
Yeah.
just like cut and paste it,
Yeah.
and they go back. It's like we're working backwards.
Hello, my
We're
name
stuck
is
in a
Jeremy.
weird loop. What's happening? What's happening right now?
Did they just turn into Groundhog Day?
Yeah, did it?
Yes,
Maybe it
probably.
did.
Maybe.
It's all good, man. So I want to thank Jill and the beta option. These are the beta options. Even though I think we found out today that they're not so beta after all. You know, that's the real point of this podcast. She wants to show how much she appreciates you guys. And I appreciate you guys for coming and hanging with us. We got so much more content coming. Pay attention, subscribe, like, and all that other bullshit that people tell you to do. It actually helps somehow. I don't know.
It
But
really
You're really selling it.
yeah,
you
hey
know?
man, whatever. Hey, come hang. That's what it's about.
Yep.
Come for the hang, stay for the hang. That's what Jalen says. So
Yeah.
we appreciate you guys. We appreciate you guys. Deuces.
Peace.
Peace. Love. All right, I'm
Harmony.
with it.
All right.
All that.
All right,
yeah.
bacon and
Good old
eggs.
Jalen.
Let's
Bacon
do
and
it.
oh yeah, I know, man. He was just here, man.
Wait, who?
Nice.
Yeah, he's coming back though.
Was he with
He's coming.
Jano? Like doing
Tano, I think is how you
Tano?
say it. Yeah, I think that's how you
Oh, wait,
but
right.
I'm not sure either, so don't feel bad.
No,
We're
I think
friends.
you're right.
Yeah, so yeah, he did a show. Wait. I know he played with Gerard.